Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the June 2nd, 2025 meeting of the Mayor and Town Council of Forest Heights. The time is now 7:32, and this meeting will come to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Hines,
Present.
Councilmember Kennedy, Councilmember Brownson, Councilmember Little,
Present.
Councilmember McDonald, Council President Noble,
Here.
Mayor Lilly.
Present.
Mr. Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. At this time, I ask that we would please have a moment of silence in honor of former council member Clifton Atkinson, who passed away late last month and who had his memorial service today. Thank you. Next, we will have the Pledge of Allegiance. I ask that everyone would please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. All right, next we have meeting minutes from our last meeting, May 21st, 2025. Are there any changes or additions to the meeting minutes from May 21st, 2025? Councilmember Brunson.
This one, I go there. Says, page 2, yes.
Oh, is your mic on, Councilmember?
Can you hear me? Mine's on.
Okay, we were just hearing some feedback, trying to see if there's another mic on. Okay, continue.
On the second page for the website, but strategic planning meeting, it has B dot instead of B dot. B as in board instead of B as in picture.
Madam Clerk?
So yes, I will note the first correction to the vote that you mentioned in section 1. I want to be sure that for the vote at the end, there was a vote to come back into open session that you
That's
will.
not one of them. Okay. It's the one before closed session, page 3.
I'll make the change. You're welcome.
Did you see the B dot instead of B dot?
I haven't seen it just yet, but I made that specific note and I'll go back and change.
Those are mine.
Thank you, Councilmember Brownson. Any other additions or corrections? Okay, and I'll just note that the minutes were distributed in advance, and so they are approved as with the changes that were notated. Next, we will have approval of the main agenda. Is there a motion to approve the main agenda for tonight? I asked if there was a motion. Would you like to offer the motion?
Yes, I make a motion that we accept the agenda for tonight.
Is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we adopt tonight's agenda. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. The motion carries and the agenda is adopted for tonight. All right, first up, we will have a presentation from the Prince George's County Planning Department, and we have Mr. Connor Klein to present. If you could come forward, we have a podium which you'll be able to turn the volume on for that mic, and then folks at home can hear you. There's a screen behind you where we can see if you're going to present. Okay, I'll pull it up for you. Yeah, I have it. And while I'm loading the presentation, if you just want to give an introduction to the community and the council.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor. My name is Connor Klein. I work with Prince George's County Planning Department. I'm in the Community Planning Division. So I work specifically with the program that I'm going to talk about today. I'm here joined by a couple of my colleagues. We have our Deputy Director, James Hunt, and then our Supervisor of Placemaking, Adam Dodgson, who also works with me in the Community Planning Division. The program I work with, I can go just a little bit into it before the presentation starts. It's called the PAMC program, which is Planning Assistance for Municipalities and Communities. You all are a municipality, so falling into that bucket, it's a program that provides technical assistance to both municipalities and community organizations. Anything that's a 501c3 can apply for this program. So I want to wait till I have a little partnership material before I go into some more of the detail. But it's a really successful program with the planning department. We have 11 active projects right now, all across the county, doing a wide range of topics that I'll go into a little bit more. Mayor Lilly, as well as Chairman Shapiro, had a conversation with me and a few of my other colleagues, along with the Parks Department in, I think, February, going over what this program can do, how we can merge that with some things going on with our Parks Department, as well as working through some placemaking options as well. So I specialize in this program, so that's what I'm talking about tonight. But obviously that conversation, this is a continuation of that conversation we had relevant to, you know, some of the interests of the town. And thank you so much. So general program overview. Next slide, please. So this program is, the idea for this program is to do short term, and that's short as in planning terms. So 12 to 18-month projects that work towards some of the implementation goals that are in Prince George's County Planning Department plans and studies. So those would be our master and sector plans, as well as our general plan, Plan 2035. Next slide, please. So this is one of my favorite slides, but this slide is a slide showing our active and completed projects in recent history. So this only goes back about 2 years. We have more than 35 completed projects to date. So the program was revived in 2017 with funding from the county council. So the idea behind the program is to provide technical assistance through it's a pseudo grant funding that works through the planning department managing and creating projects that the town helps to come up with. So my job working through outreach and engagement for this program is to work with you all as a municipality to find the interests that we can address through this program and then create a project that adheres to our guidelines. If you go to the next slide. Thank you so much. So these are the 8 plan elements that are part of our Plan 2035, which is the general plan again for Prince George's County. So the projects that we can do with this program can cover anything in those 8 categories. So really wide-ranging group of topics. Some of the projects that we have going on right now is a wayfinding plan for Greenbelt. We're doing a branding and a wayfinding plan for Fort Washington. In New Carrollton, we're doing an active transportation study. In Upper Marlboro, we're doing a feasibility study to extend the Chesapeake Beach Rail Trail. In North Brentwood and Brentwood, we are doing a flood hazard mitigation study with an accompanying environmental plan. So just to give you a very brief introduction into what's possible. What Mayor Lilly and I talked about a couple months ago with Chair Shapiro was, again, a wide range of topics. We talked about a lot of ways that the planning department and the parks department could assist the town, but something that we talked about in the context of this program, and obviously this is subject to discussion, was something of a growth preparedness plan. So given the development that's coming for Forest Heights, there's an interest to create and to try and implement some of the recommendations that are in the master plans and sector plans for the area. So focusing on pedestrian accessibility, transportation safety, and really looking at the commercial area coming into the town from DC. This is just something that we talked about as an idea to give you guys a sense of where we were going with a potential project. If you please go to the next slide. So this is just a picture of the application. This presentation will be provided to you all. But this application is really easy to fill out. So the emphasis of the program is to provide assistance to you all in terms of capacity building. So the emphasis is on creating as easy of a lift as possible to get these projects going. So I and other PAMC staff work with you all to fill this application out, essentially saying, what is your interest? What is the goal we're trying to address? Are there any relevant goals in the plans for the area that align with that goal that we're trying to address? Once that application is submitted, if you could go to the next slide. This is the beginning of our process. So right now, we're technically having the discussion about the project. We go through eligibility, which is where I take the potential project to our division and get the basic approval for the idea. Once that happens, the application is submitted, and the application, one of the hard requirements for the program is a resolution from the town. Hence, why I'm here, giving a little preface to something that might come down the line. So that application helps us create the project using some of that information you guys will provide on that application. Typically, that's done working through a town administrator, town manager, mayor, any town staff can be that facilitator on your end of how to get that project going. So once we're there, further review. This is where we go back and forth, we as in town staff and planning staff, to ensure that a scope of work for the project aligns with what you all want to do. So it's really important to emphasize this is not you all giving us an idea and then we go take the project and run. It's a circular cycle of interacting with you all to make sure that the project is achieving the interest that you want. And then the final slide is a little bit of the technical side on our end. So we work to assure that the project aligns with all of the relevant plans for the area, but also studies, also things our other sections are working on, the Parks Department are working on. Then we solicit the projects for bids to a group of pre-approved consultants that work with the planning department very frequently. Once that's done, we approve the project and kick it off. And depending on what that project is, sometimes kickoffs start with a tour of an area. Sometimes they start with a community meeting, but a lot of times that project kickoff is when the work begins, and we can start that 12 to 18-month period. So the last slide is just contact information for myself, my supervisor, and the program manager for PAMC, Daniel Sams. But otherwise, I wanted to leave. If there's any opportunity for questions, I'm not sure if that was the intention. I'd be happy to answer anything you guys have.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Klein, for that overview. Council President Noble.
You said this is funded through Prince George's County.
Yeah, so it's funded through the planning department, through funding that was designated by the county council, but it's planning department funding at the time.
Well, is that funding subject to change?
No, we get funded every year. We basically have a block of money that we need to spend on certain projects. So my job with the program is to go out and find projects to spend that money. The fiscal year budget was just approved, which I'm very happy about. I'm not sure what the figure for PAMC is at the moment, but I think the idea is that it was expanded beyond what we already have. I can't give you a figure at the moment, but the only hard rule relating to that is only one project can be engaged with one municipality at a time, which unfortunate, but makes a lot of sense. But I hope that addresses your question.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember McDonald.
Yes. Thank you for
I have a question. You mentioned something about 501(c)(3). What are the requirements for that again?
So that is the only requirement. So the municipalities and communities, the 501(c)(3) represents that community interest, and the only requirement, the only requirement of that organization is to be a 501(c)(3) company in good standing. And then those projects have to be supported either by an elected official, either at the county council level or above. So we see a lot of state delegates and senators support projects for nonprofit groups. We see county council members support projects for nonprofit groups, but we require 2 letters of support as in addition to 501(c) status.
Councilmember Bronson.
Thank you all for coming. My question is, you said that the projects can be from 12 to 18 months, but the budget is for a fiscal year. So how does it extend for 18 months?
Yeah, so once the project has started, those funds are encumbered and the project can continue well past the fiscal year that it began in. So I'm currently wrapping up a project that I started in 2023. We're right at the final stages, but the 12 to 18 months is a requirement, a guideline of the program to ensure that the projects happen in a timely manner. So the idea behind that is just so, planning can be a long process, and the idea is to have these be more concise plans.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
And I just want to make sure I understand on the 501(c)(3), we need to have a community group be part of the project.
No, so municipalities and communities, you are a municipality, that's one
Yes.
portion of the project, that's all you need to apply
Okay.
for one of these. And in lieu of the letters of support, you all provide a council resolution, if that makes some
Understood.
sense.
Thank you. Are there any further questions for Mr. Klein? Council President Noble.
I think for the council, and this may be a question for you and the mayor. If we could get a copy of the.
Yes, I'll
the
email it
sum,
right now.
yeah, thank you. But I appreciate you coming out and but this is another question. Can 501(c) partner with the municipality?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
That's encouraged, I think, especially our planning director, our planning board chair, Peter Shapiro, really emphasizes partnerships, hence our conversation with parks as well as our placemaking
Right.
section. So that would be something that we would definitely support.
Okay, thank you.
Well, you've answered all of our questions so far. I think we are excited to learn more about this opportunity. Thank you for coming to present and for the background meetings, just helping to get us up to speed. Thank you for coming in person too. That's also an added benefit. So we
absolutely.
hope to see you back and that this is not your last time in Forsyth.
Oh, I doubt it. And if I could, I have some handouts for the program and I'll leave a bunch of my cards for everybody.
Yes, we
if
would
that-
like that. Thank
Okay.
you.
Sounds great. Thank you so much.
If
for
you
the time.
could, you can leave them with our clerk, Miss Latoya Chisholm, and she'll make sure the council gets them.
Absolutely, will do. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Have a good night. Okay, next on our agenda this evening. We have a few proclamations. The first proclamation is Code Enforcement Officer Appreciation Proclamation. And it's recognizing those who serve in this capacity in our municipality, which is something that is unique to municipalities. So we just want to recognize Officer Williams, who's working in that role currently, actually doing code enforcement and then helping to back up our police staff as well. I won't read the entire proclamation in the interest of time, but it is included in the agenda for today. I move that we adopt the proclamation for Code Enforcement Office Appreciation Week, which is this week, June 1st through June 7th.
A second.
It has been moved and seconded that we adopt the proclamation for Code Enforcement Officers Appreciation Week. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Are there any opposed? All right, hearing none, the ayes have it. That proclamation is adopted. Now, actually, if it's the will of the council, we have a proclamation for Juneteenth, but we actually are going to meet for that. Do we want to have that read at the next meeting? The day before? All right. Well, I move that we amend the agenda, moving proclamation for Juneteenth to our next meeting, June 18th. Is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we amend the agenda for this evening, moving proclamation for Juneteenth holiday to our next regularly scheduled meeting on June 18th. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it, and the agenda is amended. Next, we'll have a proclamation for Caribbean American Heritage Month. This proclamation is recognizing accomplishments and contributions of Caribbean Americans, of which we have many in 4 sites and around our county. I won't read it in its entirety in the interest of time, but I move that we approve this proclamation for Caribbean American Heritage Month.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve the proclamation for Caribbean American Heritage Month. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? All right, hearing none, that proclamation is adopted. That concludes our proclamations for this evening. Next, we will have council member and mayor reports, and we will begin in Ward 1, Councilmember McDonald.
Good evening, everyone. The only thing I have is that this Saturday, June the 7th, we will be having our green team meeting with the MML team. So they'll be here at the municipal building at 12, is it, Madam Clerk?
I believe it's 12, but I
Yes.
do not have.
Thank you, Council Member Brownson. Yes, 12 o'clock. So that's all I have. Thanks.
Okay, next we will go to Councilmember Little, Ward 1.
Good evening. I don't have anything to report today.
Okay. Next, we'll go to Ward 2, and we'll begin with Councilmember Brownson.
I'm sorry, I cannot hear anything.
Michael, sorry.
Yes, and go from the top too, if you wanted to.
Okay. I said I wanted to, I didn't see new business on the agenda, so I wanted to add this, even though it's new business. That there was a memo email went out today about Pepco. Pepco Holdings has some money, grant money out for municipalities. And I wanted to know if they're gonna have an information session on June 14th. And I wanted to know, or wanted to have the council be aware of this. I plan to attend the information session because they're gonna give grants to Pepco area for funding for vegetation management. It's the vegetation management team and sustainable community grants. So I want to look into it, see what it is that they can do. But I just wanted to mention, so if anybody wants to get on the information session on June 14th, the email has a link where you can sign up.
Thank you, Councilmember Bronson. And for that information, Councilmember Kennedy from Ward 2.
Just wanted to remind residents that the trees that were planted through funding from a grant, and you cannot cut them down. These trees are the ones that were planted in the right of way.
Thank you, Councilmember Kennedy. Next, we're going to do a different order. We're going to go to Ward 3, Councilmember Hines.
Good evening. Let me see. I wanted to say that I attended the memorials breakfast on the 26th of May. And I just want to say that it was really nice. It was really nice. And I hope this is the start of many, many more. And it was also suggested by one of our council members that maybe we can have a candle, you know, and when we do that ceremony at Veterans Park, we can light it at the beginning of the ceremony, and then we can blow it out, make sure that it's out. But I thought that was a good idea, and I want to bring it to the council to see if maybe, you like it. We can implement it. Okay, and then also I wanted to tell you that International Play Day is June 11th. I didn't know if anyone knew about that. But the one that Michelle Obama started, I believe they said September 27th. And then also August 1st is go out and play ball, any type of ball. Okay, so remember that. Play ball. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Hines. Next, we'll go to Council President Noble for Ward 3.
Thank you. I just want to say that today we said goodbye to our dear friend. I don't think we could say his name enough. Cliff Atkinson. He served the town before he was elected, and he did a great job when he was elected. So I just wanted to say that. I just had some updates, and one is our neighborhood watch meeting will be the first Monday in July, 7 p.m., but we'll say it at every meeting until we get to July 7th. We want to start up our neighborhood watch. And also the VDOT meeting, the next VDOT meeting about the I-495 toll road is this Wednesday, 6 to 8 at Oxon Hill High School. So if you wanted more information, or if you want to just give your opinion about it, it's an open meeting, so please feel free to attend. I think that.
All right. Good evening, residents and fellow council members. This date is a little bit off. It's the June 2nd is today's date, not the 5th. But this is a report for today's meeting. Earlier today, we received the final draft of the FY 2023 audit. This signals that the auditor has completed their review process. The treasurer is currently reviewing that draft report, and the FY 2024 audit is in progress. The next steps for the audit are that the Uniform Financial Review, which is an accompanying document that is submitted with each audit, will be completed, we expect, by next week. And once reviewed, those documents will be published on the town website for residents and the public's consumption. This is just another reminder, Council President Noble just mentioned it, but we really want to encourage you to come out and voice your opinion on Wednesday, June 4th at Oxon Hill High School related to the I-495 express toll lanes. There's a image up there that may be hard for you to see at home, but it just kind of highlights how close this product is going to come to Forest Heights. It's going to affect all the exits that we would take to come to and from our homes and to work if we're going into Virginia. So this is going to impact you. If you have time or you know a neighbor who can make an opportunity to come out, please join us on Wednesday. This is just a recap. As mentioned earlier by Councilmember Hines, we had a very well-attended Memorial Day Remembrance Breakfast last Monday. And we were able to bring together some veterans organizations that represent surviving families and service members so that they can get connected to resources for employment, for housing, for healthcare. And we also had some members of Veterans Commission and people who are working with our Veterans Commission to help connect and identify our veterans so they can take advantage of these services. So we hope that it was just the beginning of igniting some new partnerships so that we can serve those who live in Forsyth and the surrounding area well. I also want to mention that we had Council Member Juanita Fisher, who represents District 2 in Prince George's County, who came to join us. And we also had volunteers from Oxon Hill High School, several of them, young people who came and volunteered. And we also had Dr. Dula, who was the Veterans Affairs Director for Prince George's County. He told a very poignant story about Emily Perez, who was a service member who graduated from Oxon Hill, went to West Point, served, had a decorated career, and was killed in combat. And so we want to honor her and remember her story because she's a hometown hero. And Memorial Day is really about those who paid the ultimate sacrifice, not just those who served. So we thank all the residents who came out, the staff, our town administrator, our public works department, our Veterans Commission, our volunteers, everyone who was involved, and council members and other leaders who came out to join us. We are remembering Councilmember Cliff Atkinson. As we've noted a few times today was his memorial service in Upper Marlboro. And we had a very strong showing of residents, council members, former mayors, former council members, and just friends and neighbors of Mr. Atkinson. He served the town admirably, but even before he was elected and after he was elected, he stayed dear in the hearts of our neighbors because he looked out for people on his block. He looked out for people in the town. He was always willing to pitch in and to serve. And so we want to recognize him because he is an exemplary person in Forsyth. He's a pillar. That's what we call him today. Isn't that right, Council President? It's a pillar. And we're going to miss him grilling, and we're going to miss him passing the news at the corners of Seneca and Mohican. And we send our best wishes and prayers to his family. On Saturday, we had a public works open house. We had a turnout of residents and council members, staff, and we had a very productive back and forth conversation around what public works does, how they support the town. And then we got a lot of questions and inquiries from residents where they were able to let us know where some communication is unclear, where there's some gaps in knowledge. And we took a lot from that interaction. So I just want to thank the council members who came, our town administrator. We did have kind of a sad note, I guess, to say. That was the last day for our former Department of Public Works Director, Mr. Dual Belnavis. However, even on his last day, he was very motivated and informative. I think a lot of residents left with feeling much more empowered is a great word. Yeah, more informed about what the town does and how we support and how we can do more. So I think we're looking forward to, based on some conversation after that, some more open houses. Maybe we'll consider having some regular open houses about different topics in town where residents, staff, leadership can come together so that we build better relationships, stronger relationships, and we're able to serve the needs of the residents more effectively. We have a couple of upcoming events and reminders. There's the District 8 Community Resources Fair, which is going to be at Forsyth Elementary on Saturday, June 14th. I believe it's at 10 a.m. Is that correct? That's an opportunity for residents to come out and learn about different services that are available both in District 8 and in the county for you to take advantage of. So we love to invite you and love to see you come out. Forsyth Baptist Church is having a community day that's coming up that is open to the public. And that'll be Saturday, June 21st from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. They're located at 6371 Oxon Hill Road in Forsyth. If you're looking for a landmark, it's directly across the street from Topgolf. So we're sure you'll be able to find it if you're looking for Topgolf. All right, another slide. Forsyth Day is going to be Saturday, August the 2nd from 1 to 7 p.m. So we just ask you save the date for that event. Foresight Day is our annual community festival. And this year we're pulling together a lot of events that we've held separately in the past. We're going to try to combine our back to school backpack and school supply drive with Foresight Day. And we're partnering with local churches, businesses, schools to really make this a day that we come together and have our last summer blast before kids return to school. So save that date. Save that day. We hope to see you. And that concludes my report. Next on our agenda, we have public period. And public period is a time when speakers can state their first name and their address. You have 2 minutes to address the mayor and council. You can pose questions. We may be able to answer them now, and if not, we will answer them at a later time after directing them to the appropriate department head or official. Is there anyone who wishes to speak during public period at this time?
I would like to speak.
Good evening.
Hi, how are you? My name is Andrea McCutcheon. And I'd just like to say, Mayor Lily, I was express my appreciation for your articulate and thoughtful remarks regarding Cliff today. You spoke well for the town, and I really like that. The other thing I'd like to say is I just saw this, saw this a couple of days. There's this gentleman, and this is for the police department, just riding like a 2-year-old girl on a motor scooter, what do you call it? A little mini bike type thing. And she's riding on the back of it, and she was almost hanging off. I don't know how, because he has no control over, but I've seen him come by a couple of times. I just wanted to alert you of that because seems real dangerous. The other thing, I sent you an email late, and I just wanted to remind you of the ordinance, in particular to Article 20, financial management and internal controls regarding the budget. And you'll notice A1 says that, I don't know if you're still doing this or not, but it says all procurements requests shall be pre-certified prior to purchase. And the reason for that is that you have a budget that's a template to go by, but you need to know how much money you have in the bank. And that's why it has been, for as long as I can remember, I can't remember the date on it, that all purchases have to be pre-certified by the treasurer so that you know that the funds are in there. And the other thing I wanted to mention is about over expenditures. I saw you had a lot on your, in the past. And I just wanted to remind you that I think it's when it gets to 75%, there's the treasurer is supposed to notify the council of that. So I don't know if you're still using Article 20. It is still written. And also there are a lot of updates that I didn't see to Article 20, such as the credit card procurements by different departments and how you do that type of thing. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McCutcheon, for your comments. It was good to see you at Mr. Atkinson's memorial today. Thank you for coming to help us celebrate his life and for your comments otherwise as well. We appreciate you being an informed, concerned member of our community. Thank you. Also, it's good to see Ms. Pippins in the audience, and I know you're not speaking, but thank you for coming to the meeting and good to see you. All right, is there anyone else who wishes to speak during public period at this time? All right, hearing none, public period is now closed. Next on our agenda, we have a public hearing, and this is for annexation resolution 01-25. This is an item on our agenda which
we originally began discussion on in April. This is annexing several parcels of non-taxable or tax exempt land. And we approved the plan. And so now we are here to hold an open hearing on the annexation resolution, which moves us forward in finalizing the annexation process. And this would be the 15th annexation for the town of Forest Heights. As part of the public hearing, we sent a notification out in several editions of newspapers as required by the charter. Madam Clerk, could you remind me or just inform the community which publications the notice was published in for this annexation?
This annexation was posted 4 times over a time span in the PG Post.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And so at this time, we have public hearings for it. Councilmember Brownson.
So my understanding that public notice is to put it in a notice that the community usually get their notices. So what you say, whatever the post is not the way the community normally get their information. So in my understanding, that would not suffice as a public notice.
Thank you, Councilmember Brownson. Council President.
I just had a question too about this. Is it PG Post? I mean, where is it located?
So
I don't know if it's in a,
It's a-
newspaper box, or could you buy it? Where would I get one?
well, it's a newspaper that's in general circulation in the town, which is how it's outlined in the charter. I don't have that information though. Mr. Best, could you opine?
The way the state law works for newspapers of general circulation designation is it delegates that authority to the counties. Prince George's County Council has designated the Post, I believe the Gazette, as newspapers of general circulation. So it is one of the 2 or 3 newspapers of general circulation in the county, which includes Forest Heights.
Council President Noble?
I do know the
Oh.
Gazette, but I'm not familiar with the Post. The
Post
Prince
Post has
George,
been around a long time.
not the Washington Post.
No, the PG Post.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's been around for a long time.
Okay, thank you.
It's not the most prescribed to paper in the county, but it's one of the newspapers of general circulation, and it fulfills the legal requirement.
Because I guess for me, downstairs, we have the Gazette, but we don't have the Post.
Councilmember Brownson.
I still go back to this, the PG Post is not the way the citizens of Forest Heights get their information. So to me, it doesn't seem as though this would suffice as a public notice for the residents of Forest Heights. And I would challenge that as a way of the residents get their information. I just don't think that's suffice.
Thank you, Councilmember Brownson. Let me ask if there's any additional comment, and then I'll open it up to public comment.
Yeah, so this is, it's just being brought up now as for discussion, or we're voting on this tonight?
No, it's on the agenda for action tonight for vote.
Okay, so this is a lot to consume. And residents have not been properly, I guess, reiterating Council Brownson's point. Notified of this. We have the Gazette and the PG paper, we get
Yes.
that. but there could have been some kind of heads up or some kind of overview, if you will, to at least alert the community and the residents.
Yes. So I would just add that the annexation plan is the original piece of legislation that we approved, which outlined the property, the spaces. I'm not going to say we held a public hearing. We had the legislation before the council. We passed it on the 7th of April, 2025. So it's a two-part process where we approve the plan first, and then after a period of time passes, we approve or can approve the resolution. Councilmember McDonald.
It would be helpful if we could have just shared highlights or information with the residents of the town of Forsyth Heights. This is who is going to be affected by this annexation. So yes, we've gone through some procedurals and some processes to get us to this point, but the residents are not, sitting back waiting for information to come. We could have at least just sort of let them know that it's coming and to be aware so that they could at least had some prepared questions or whatever the case may be.
Is there any other further input? I do want to ask a question, but I just want to see if there's anyone who had anything to add before it. Councilmember Brown.
I am looking at the back of this, and it still has Jamila McDonald, council president as well.
Let me ask a question. I hear the concerns from council, and I want to know if there's an impact time-wise for the resolution. Is there an impact time-wise? Is it time
Yes.
sensitive?
Yes, it is. If you delay this or table this, you have to republish the notice. You're going to continue this hearing.
If it's not passed today, or is it this month? Is it strictly today's date, or is there leeway? Like
Yes, there's
perhaps
leeway. You don't have to pass it tonight. You may have to republish a notice, but that may not even be required either, because if you close the hearing, you want to have another hearing, you're going to have to republish it. If you felt that the hearing met the notice requirement, and you just want to delay the legislative passage, you can do that without publishing the notice. So really, it's up to you. If you think that there was a defect or a problem in the notice because a separate newspaper general circulation was used that you don't care for, then you can read. There is a pretty large cost to advertise, so it's not peanuts.
Yes, thank you. But I was really trying to figure out if maybe we do this because we're trying to build community conversation. It doesn't necessarily sound like it needs to go out in the post again. Maybe we can do a distribution within the community of something that we print, and it gives people a chance to know about it. And if they want to come to the next meeting, even if there's not a formal hearing, we'll have public period before the legislation. They can speak on it. They can ask some questions. That way, we kind of continue that posture from like Saturday's meeting, right? We want to hear from and make sure people are informed in a way they can receive it. We're not trying to do this without informing residents. And so I don't see that there's any danger if it's not going to delay. If it's not going to be in a position to the legality of this, and we can vote on it next meeting after we have a chance. Electronic board. I also think, I'm going to come to you, Councilmember Hines. I think maybe what we're hearing is we want to explore ways to go beyond the legal requirement and do something that feels like Forsyth Heights and what we would do for a neighbor. I know it's a legal document, and what we'll try to do is maybe think about this on the front end so that we can find other ways to enhance the information. We want it to feel like if someone was driving in and out of the town, or if they were doing what someone normally does when they're busy, they'll have a chance to see what we put out. Does that sound about right from the council? Councilmember Hines, Councilmember Hines.
Well, my question is about the PG posts. Where can I get one? Or how come, because sometimes it was the Gazette that was at the library that you could just go in and pick it up. But I've never heard of the PG posts, and I'd like to know where I can get one.
The PG Post should be at your local library as well.
And when did we switch over to that from the Gazette?
I don't know. I'm not sure. But however, we're having discussion about it now, and I think we can find a bridge to getting where we want to be. Does that
And this
sound
is-
right?
This is for the annexation, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
May I make
Council
a
President.
comment? Since it is a hearing, please, when you finish, thank you.
I'll open it up in just a minute for public hearing. Thank you, Ms. McCutcheon. Council President Noble?
I think going forward, and maybe from this point forward, that as this body, we have to pay attention to these dates, where it's posted. We need a copy of where it's posted. And also it should always be posted in the newsletter that we have, more detail of it in the newsletter, because we know the newsletter is delivered or received by people in the town who want it. But PG posts, even that we used to get the Gazette downstairs, but I haven't seen that in a couple of months. So I don't know. And I know it would cost a lot in the Washington Post, but at the same time, we need to communicate to everyone. And it may be on the electronic board as a hearing on this day, just hearing. And they'll call and what is the hearing about?
That's a simple way to do it. So would it satisfy council if we do this? What if we put on the electronic board that will have like the annexation plan or something will be adopted, and like that there's comment or something for the next meeting? It won't be necessarily an official hearing unless, can we do a second public hearing? No, we have to re-advertise if we do that, correct?
Yes, you have to re-advertise if you continue the public hearing. But if you conduct a public hearing, feel that the notice was fulfilled legal requirements, you can add on top of it further notice locally
Okay.
and just delay or table passage of the resolution itself for another date.
Postpone. What was that, Council President? The notice? Okay. So I will make a motion that at the least, well, actually, we're in the hearing portion. We can come back to this as we've got it on the agenda. Am I correct? Yeah. All right. At this time, I'll now open it up for public comment for the public hearing. Is there anyone who wishes to speak at this time on annexation resolution 01-25? If so, you'll have 2 minutes, and please state your name and address.
Sure. My name is Andrea McCutcheon. I live on Seneca Drive. And again, I want to say a couple of things. First, the public notice board, at least the one that's on my side on Seneca, you cannot read that and expect that's some sort of publication, because I sat there 6 minutes one time trying to read it. Again, I'd like to refer you back to the ordinance, and I can't remember the other where it says where you post things. And I wrote the Gazette back in 2011, and the Gazette is not a newspaper of normal circulation in the town. You have to go and get this. So it says, just like with ordinance, it says a summary, this is 3312, a summary of each ordinance shall be published at least twice in the Forest Heights News, the town newsletter, or in a newspaper or newspapers having general circulation in the municipality. And the whole thing is general circulation in the town, where it's not where I have to go out and find and wonder. That's not general circulation, so it doesn't meet the legal requirements. You have a charter and you have an ordinance, and it has nothing to do with what PG County does. Okay, so I contest what you're doing. I knew nothing about this. The newsletter that you have, you can put this thing in black and white and make these notices, post these notices and be on top of this stuff. Because just like I told you with the budget hearing, it wasn't posted. The Gazette does not get thrown out like at every house in the town. It's the newsletter. It says it. Look at 3312. And there's another ordinance that says it. And we have a charter and we have an ordinance that you're supposed to follow, period. And to sneak this stuff in with what's expensive about it, you don't have to pay for anything but put it in your newsletter and not have this all of a sudden doing something. And Mr. Best, I beg to differ with you. This does not meet the requirement, nor does that signboard. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McCutcheon. Appreciate your comment and points taken, notes taken. I think we have our assignment as a council. We are going to, I don't think that, I believe the legal sufficiency was met, but we are going to expand the options that we give to provide notice to individuals in the community. And I believe that the June newsletter has yet to go out. Is that correct, Mr. Jackson? Okay, so we can add it as an addendum in the newsletter, publish it on the electronic boards. Then we'll have penetration to every door in 4 sites. And that will be the standard that we use going forward, just because it makes it easier. And what we heard from residents over the weekend was that well, I'll just share this candidly, and we're going to change this. What I heard somebody tell me was, when I see that municipal building, I don't want to see anyone who's in there, and I don't want to go in there. And we want to change that because we're neighbors, and the municipality is an organization, a local government entity that is appointed to serve because residents want to see things happen in their community. They want to see things. They want to be communicated with a certain way. And so we're going to take the legal standard and we're going to add to it in the spirit of Council Member Atkinson, who we celebrated today, and in the spirit of helping people to be more informed and in a way they don't have to dig through things. They don't feel like when they come to talk to us that it's only about bad things or that they didn't get at least some consideration that a neighbor would give. And so with that, I've closed the public period if there's no one else who wishes to speak during this time. I know Mr. Best wants to speak, but not during public period, though, I don't think.
Yes, public period.
Mr. Best.
Since my name was mentioned by former Mayor McCutcheon, when she talks about the ordinances and what's prescribed for ordinances, that's a whole different set of laws. A charter amendments and annexation resolutions are governed by state law. State law governs 100% provisions found in the local government articles that allow newspapers in general circulation and that. She's confusing what the charter says about adopting ordinances with what the state law says about charter amendments and annexation resolution. Completely comparing apples and oranges. It's a different process, different process involved, different newspapers designated. Thank you.
That newsletter goes to everybody.
Ms. McCutcheon, I know you would like to speak. I wish I could give you time to, but I can't let you respond
Sure, I'm sorry,
to Mr.
he's
Best.
wrong.
But thank you. Thank you. All right. We have concluded our public hearing this evening. We have next, as part of the public hearing, consideration and approval. We know we're not going to approve it tonight, so I move that we postpone approval or consideration of the annexation resolution until the June 18th, 2025 meeting, after which we have a chance to circulate a notice about this annexation activity legislation in the 4 Sites newsletter for June. Is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we postpone consideration of annexation resolution 0125 until June 18th, 2025. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay. The motion passes. The ayes have it. That concludes the public hearing for annexation resolution 01-25. Next, we will move into legislation for action. And up first, we have ordinance 03-25. This is an ordinance of the mayor and council of the town of Forest Heights, Maryland, to approve and adopt the fiscal year 2026 budget and authorize its amendment by resolution. I move that we adopt ordinance number 03-25.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we adopt ordinance number 03-25. Discussion. I have a question too, and I'll come to you, Councilmember Bronson. Mr. Best, given that the charter has a timeline for when ordinances become law, and it's, I believe, a 30-day period, if we adopt the ordinance after, with less than 30 days until the new fiscal year starts, does it need to be converted or modified to state that it's an emergency ordinance?
Well, a regular ordinance can take effect between 6 or 60 days from the first time it's read to the second time it's read. So you cannot introduce an ordinance and then less than 6 days later approve it. But you can introduce an ordinance, and as long as you approve it within 60 days, you're good to go as well. That's a regular ordinance. Now, if you want to basically waive the 2-reader requirement for the ordinance, you need an emergency ordinance. You need it styled as that. It has to be, the ordinance itself would have to be rewritten.
If we have an ordinance that was first introduced at the first meeting in May, which I believe was May the 1st, it was read again at the second meeting in May. It's here for the third time. So it's been read more than once, but I'm just wondering if the clock is ticking on the date that we adopted. If we adopted less than 30 days out, we're still okay and it can take effect.
Yeah, you have up to 60 days.
But it will take,
In other words, you can.
it'll
table
take
it
effect
for-
by July 1 is my question. I'm trying to make sure it will take effect by July 1 if we were to pass it tonight
Do
or
you
some later
recollect when
date.
it was first introduced, first read? What was the date on it? May something?
It would have been,
So if it was after May 1st, Mr. Mayor, that's it, from May 1st to July 1st is 60 days.
okay.
So you're good to go. You can read it multiple times, you can table it, you can finesse it, you can decide to change it. Because maybe you're weighing whether very carefully, whether you're gonna have line items state the amounts that are in them, and yeah, you have up to 60 days to do that. So you're good.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Best. Councilmember Bronson.
Did we get a new budget after we made the some of the comments and stuff? And he said he was going to make the changes. So I haven't seen a new draft.
Mr. Frankenfield, question from Councilmember Bronson on new drafts since the last meeting.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council. It was attached, so I only see the electronic copy, but it was attached in board docs. So I assume that the budget book was provided to you. If not, I can email it to you this evening. To summarize changes, we had a decrease in police debt service. The chief worked with the vendor and got a revised loan amortization schedule. One of the vehicles was subject to an accident and the debt service was paid off. So we got a reduced payment in fiscal year 26. And we revised Forest Heights Day from $3,000 to $15,000 are the only changes in this budget since the last version you saw, along with some language updates that we talked about last meeting.
And okay, so what the request is that whenever you're making changes and you just put it in board docs, how are we to know that you made the changes and put it into board docs? So we'll go look for it.
If I could, let me have Ms. Chisholm speak, the clerk.
Yes, I just wanted to jump in and confirm with Mr. Frankenfield that you indicated that the only changes were made in the budget book were on page 4 Is that correct? Is that also including the language that you're speaking of? And that way I can just print page 4 specifically and hand it to council?
It's a little, yeah, it's definitely not page 4. I can give you a specific page number. It's page 24 and page.
Let me ask, okay, so the budget version update, the updated budget, I think is dated 5/21, which I'm assuming is May 21st.
Correct.
So that's the most recent version, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So I think there was some other comments that I made at the last meeting about the definition for some line items. You didn't have those included. Did you make those changes?
Yep.
And there was one other thing that I mentioned, that you didn't have the staff list attached so that we can see what the staff count. And I made a comment that was position added, that I didn't know we had authorized that position.
On page 20,
Oh,
you missed it in the prior version.
I didn't understand.
Oh, your internet's going in and out, just, it may be buffering.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said the staff listing is on page 29 as it was in the prior versions.
But also and when I talked about the mayor's budget, and you sent this proposed income by but it one of the line items disappeared, and that was for what was it, meetings and something like that. It was $1,000 before, and it just disappeared, and I was wondering, I think I asked the question, why did your budget change? And you said it was only by the 6,000, and I didn't have it at that time. And I don't know whether it's the line item for events and meetings and hospitality, and it wasn't showing for FY26. Was that on purpose, or?
Well, let's figure this out. So I know, we know which version of the budget we all need to have, which is May 21st.
It is. Who's in this? Okay, I don't have that version.
Okay, so just a question, Madam Clerk, on this most recent budget that's in the attachment in board docs, that's something that was given out or that's available for council members who like requested a paper copy, correct?
This was in the last meeting. I can't confirm that I gave them, I thought I gave them the budget book. If they received a budget book in their last packets, then it is the most up-to-date one.
Okay.
However, if they need it, I can print it.
My last copy is 5/15.
Okay. So I think that may be where
Yeah, would have been.
the breakdown is. We'll get you a May 21st version, which has substantial updates.
I would like one also, please.
Noted.
Thank you.
Everybody say the same thing, but we talk the same.
Madam Clerk, I think she said she's just gonna get it everyone. It'll be at the top of your inbox, or it's gonna be on your desk at some point. Thank you.
The hard copy.
I have a question.
Sure, Councilmember McDonald.
Mayor Lilly, we have drafts after drafts after drafts. I think it would be helpful if we have Mr. Frankenfield to put the date on there, because we don't have the dates on the documents. That would be helpful.
Okay. So a notation of which version would help. I see. Madam Clerk?
If council approves, I can make a subtle update on the budget book that you all need currently, and moving forward, Mr. Frankenfield can do so.
Yes, thank you. If you could notate the one you're gonna provide with 5/21/25. I think that would suffice. Council President Noble.
Yes, this is in the ordinance on page 3. Under account title, it says FY 25 budget draft. Should it be 26 or? I think it may be just a typo.
Which page was that?
Page 3.
Oh, Council President, that's a comparison to the prior fiscal year budget. So there's 2 columns there, 25 and
Right.
26.
Yes, I see the FY 25 revised and then the FY 26 draft under the budgets. But then right under the account title, it says FY 25 budget draft.
Oh, yes, you're right.
I'm what?
You're correct.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Council President. I need to take a note of that change because we'll make an update that an amendment. We'll propose an amendment. We'll see if everyone wants to agree to that change. Okay, this is on page 3. Who was first? I saw a couple hands go up. Councilmember McDonald.
I was just gonna ask, I think I brought this up about the 9003-7038 with the copier.
Yes. What's the total you see there? On the latest version, it's down to 30,000.
25 was approved,
Mhm.
17,000, and then it went up to 42,000. And I thought because we're gonna be using LPI, we won't need as much there.
I believe that's the case. I think in the latest version, it's down to 30,000, but it would be wonderful to decrease it even farther. Have we been able to confirm if we can get rid of a printer or if we can downsize and decrease the cost on the lease for the printers or copiers that we have, especially considering the LPI transition? And Mr. Franklin, I think you're noting your change to the budget line was based on the trend that you saw in FY 25. Is that correct?
Yeah, so, and that was conversations we had about examining the leases and inventorying the contracts that we have in place and if any are available to be sent back.
Okay. Is there a staff recommendation, either Mr. Jackson, for what we could decrease that line to? We are not going to be spending $30,000 on the printer, the copier. Do you have a recommendation at this time about what we could decrease that line to?
We're still reworking that, Mr. Mayor. We should have something for you by the next meeting, although I know it will not help this particular meeting.
Okay. So in the interest of trying to tighten the budget up as much as possible, is it your recommendation that we leave it as is now at 30,000?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Councilmember Brownson.
Yeah, I have a question about just maybe the title of the ordinance. And it says budget and authorize its amendment by resolution. So when we pass the ordinance, we authorizing future amendments. Is that what it's saying?
It means that future changes to the budget will be done by resolution. They don't have to be done by ordinance.
And it says it's amendments. That only mean one.
Well, though it covers how many ever council sees fit to
No, but I'm saying the
introduce.
title says this. It says
Oh,
it's
I hear
amendment,
you.
not amendments, with an S.
Yes, I hear you. It covers the situation in whether there's one or if there's multiple that are needed.
Amendment, one. That's what my question.
It is inferred that as many resolutions as the council presents can be considered and adopted as such. But I do appreciate your meticulousness on the title of the ordinance. It's really the will of the council. Councilmember McDonald.
I think it would just read easier if we just put it in parentheses. Just put an S in parentheses. That was be sufficient. That means singular or plural.
Is there a second or someone else who's in support? All right, it has been moved and seconded. And I think I need you to formally state the motion if you could, Councilmember McDonald.
I would like to make a motion that we incorporate an S behind the word amendment for ordinance number 03-25.
It has been moved and seconded that we amend ordinance number 03-25, adding an S after the word amendment. You can second, and then we can, if someone wants to, I'm sorry, there was a motion in a second. I'm just restating, and now I'm gonna call for a voice vote, but first I'll do discussion before doing that. Yes.
Okay, discussion. Okay, in this parens S after amendment, then if we're going to use the same logic, then it says that you can amend as many times as you want, but by resolution, only one resolution. If we use the same, so it should be another parens with the resolution.
Does someone want to amend the motion?
Another comment in there, he said he would correct in his sentence. We never voted on that.
We can do that.
We do it all at once.
We'll do it after this because we already have discussion open. All right, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Mr. Best, what's wrong?
This nitpicking with this language is just, it really surprised me. You got it right, Mayor. The word amendment means amended once or amended multiple times. I'm a graduate of the University of Baltimore School of Law, and I was one of the few lawyers that took the course on municipal law and the course on statutory construction. I assure you, this ordinance, the way I've written it, yeah, it may have some typos. Those things happen from time to time, but it's carefully crafted and it's been written this way for years. What you're doing is you're nitpicking at things that makes little sense to me and is almost laughable to some people. So
I have,
thank you.
Let me comment.
Just a moment, just a moment.
Can I comment?
Discussion.
Yes, because there was a resolution for the FY 25 budget. By resolution to amend the budget. The council voted no. There was another one and the council voted yes. So there were various resolutions where the council goes back and forth with these resolutions to amend the budget. Then multiple amendments, and to the point that we said, no more resolutions to amend the budget. We had a budget, we approved it. So all these amendments is just too much. You can't keep track of the dollars and stuff like that. That was the reason for my question, not to nitpick or be petty or challenge the law.
Thank you, Councilmember Bronston. Council President Noble.
I guess for me, it's all of the ordinances prior to this one, I think, and I'm not certain, the title reads the same. So when we pass the budget, it's, it has said it's amendment by resolution. I don't know, maybe the attorney can add to that.
What you're saying, has the language changed a lot in the title of the ordinance that approves the budget? No.
Right. I'm
It's been the same
saying
for
it's the
years.
same it's the same title when approving the budget. It has been for, I don't want to say forever, but
a few years.
Yeah.
There was a time under your charter when the budget was approved by resolution, not by ordinance. And then the charter was changed about 6, 7 years ago to conform with the state law and align with what was required by the state law. I had advised that it was improper to do it by mere resolution. It had to be done first by ordinance. So the case law in Maryland says that if an ordinance authorizes a lower level of legislation like resolution, permissible. So that's why the ordinance that approves the budget is done by ordinance, but it authorizes amendments by resolution. Otherwise, it would be done by another ordinance, would be the amendatory legislation. So this allows more flexibility, that now allows it to be done more efficiently.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. We've had ample discussion. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed? Are you opposed? If you're opposed, could you say nay?
I'm
If you-
listening to Attorney Best.
Just a moment.
So-
If you're voting aye, that's for yes. If you're voting nay, that's for a no. My apologies. I'll give instruction on no from now on too. So
Just to keep it
we have
simple.
how many ayes? One aye?
What are we voting on, please?
There's a motion on the floor to amend the resolution or the ordinance rather to add an S to amendments in the title of the ordinance. So it would read its amendments by resolution as opposed to amendment as it currently reads. Were you aye or a nay vote? Councilmember Kennedy.
I don't think it matters, so
Is that a nay?
I would have to lean toward nay on that.
Okay. Madam Clerk.
Yes, I just want to confirm for the record because Councilmember McDonald has stated a nay, but it was her motion. So if she is now a nay, then do we need to? Yes, because there was a motion and a second.
No, because the motion belongs to the floor. Once someone offers it, they can't rescind it once the votes have been cast. So no.
Okay,
However, I would count that as we have one yes and the rest nay. I didn't hear any yays, so the motion fails. Okay, so now we are back to there's an amendment we need to make to the budget, which I believe was on page 3. This is changing the label under the words account title on page 3. I move that we amend the budget on page 3 under account title, changing it to FY26 budget draft from FY25 budget draft. Well, if there's a second, then we can discuss further. If not, it's been moved in second that we amend ordinance number 03-25 on page 3, changing FY26 budget draft under account title to FY26 budget draft. Discussion.
Mr. Frankenfield, can FY25 budget draft just be removed from? Because it has no significance.
Yeah, I agree. We could strike that whole phrase or section.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is a legal question. I'm sorry.
I think it's readily discernible. This is, it can be left alone or it can be stricken.
Well, we're in discussion, and so you can actually override this motion if you want to amend it, or if you want to strike it. Currently, the motion on the floor is to amend it to FY 26. Any further discussion? All right. If all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? This is to amend it. We need another motion if we're going to move to strike it as opposed to amend it. All right. Any opposed? I didn't hear votes in either direction. So all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Okay. Any opposed? The ayes have it. So the ordinance has been amended. Are there any further changes to ordinance?
The budget line for Forest Heights Day has been changed to 15,000, but we still are unsure of where that money is coming from. And also the percentage did not change. It still says 0% change. So that needs to be changed as well, since we're talking about changes.
Thank you, Councilmember Little. Mr. Frankenfield, could you provide an update on where the funding for the additional increase for Forest Heights Day is coming from?
Yeah, so we reached out. There's a couple of sets of grant funding in place. There's the MNCPP funding that was awarded in fiscal year 25. There's the county, the local impact money from 2025. We're 80% certain we can fund it with grant dollars, but we're talking to the funders to confirm. In any regards, we saved $13,000 on the police debt service and the change that I talked about earlier. So police debt service went down 13,000. The cost of Forest Heights Day went up 12,000, and the town put an extra $1,000 in savings with this latest change. Again, we'll try to utilize the county grant dollars if it's allowable. But for now, it was funded through the decrease in debt service.
Okay, and Councilmember Little, what was the percentage that needs to change is on Forest Heights Day with the new amount? Is that correct?
Correct. It says 0% change right now. That's clear.
Okay, yeah.
Which page is this on?
23.
Oh, 20.
Well, 24 if you look at online.
20.
This is
Okay, I see.
4 dots.
Okay, if you could calculate the percentage change for us.
Yeah, and we'll go back and update the budget book because we're going to switch all the titles from draft to adopted. Again, it doesn't change the legislation,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
we should get the document right for the website. So yeah, we'll update that percentage.
Councilmember Little.
Can a description of where the money is coming from be put in the summary as well, if that's not too much to ask, just so we be all clear.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there any further discussion on ordinance number 03-25? Okay, hearing none. Madam Clerk, please call the roll. We made several amendments to the budget. When we first came into ordinance number 03-25, we had a motion to adopt. We went into discussion, made some amendments. Are there any other amendments or questions that we need to address?
To see it before I approve.
Okay, so that's right. We need to get copies. My apologies. Charge to my head, not to my heart. Mr. Best.
Just wanted to let the council know that there are two documents involved in your annual budget. There's the budget ordinance, which has very simplified line items. It has about 10 or 15 revenue items and 10 or 15 expenditure items. That is the document you're approving tonight. Any of the detail or typos or embellishments needed, excuse me, in the budget book is separate and apart. You're not approving that document. That document should be approved from time to time when it's changed by simple resolution. But if you read this ordinance, it specifically says that the budget book is separate and is not included as part of the ordinance itself. What the ordinance does, it locks in the treasurer by your decree, if you will, what those major line items are. And you cannot change those major items. The staff can't change them. The mayor can't change them unless the document comes back before you as a resolution or an ordinance and gets a super majority vote, because that's a requirement of state law. So after you pass the budget in June, that you go to amend it, say in July, August, September, or whenever in the fiscal year, it takes a super majority vote. But the document you should be fixating on tonight is the four corners of this 7-page budget ordinance, not the budget book. That can be amended and fixed and brought before you at the next meeting in its pristine form by the treasurer. But the document that ties the hands of the treasurer is this ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Best. Council President Noble.
So I guess my question at this point is that the FY 26 budget, as stated on page 3 as FY 26 draft, 7,159,846. That is the number.
Mr. Frankenfield, that question directed to you. That's not a legal question.
Yeah, I'm switching back and forth between the budget book and the ordinance, so give me a second to get back there. Yep, 7159846 is the appropriation and the revenues for fiscal year 26 that you're voting on tonight. 7159, excuse me, 846.
Thank you.
Councilmember Hines, absolutely.
Kind of lost. Okay. When we passed the budget, I'm lost about the pensions, all of the different things that we discussed. Is that saying yes to, we're allowing that to go forward? I mean, what? I'm not understanding.
Could you clarify?
The pensions for,
Those are separate items of legislation. They're on the agenda tonight for discussion, but they're not part of the
that's not in
budget.
the budget.
No. No.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion on the budget book? Are we ready to vote? You're not. I'm just asking. Okay. It's not part of the document that we're approving. It's not part of the ordinance. However, I just wanted to make that point just for Councilmember Hines. It's not part of the same document. However, I understand your concern. So if we want to do the vote on this later, we can move to something else. And I'll offer a motion first. So we need a certain number of votes. Do we have enough? We need a supermajority, correct? We need 5, 4. Okay. So there was a motion on the floor originally to vote on this legislation. I think since we have 2 members who want the book, just to look at it. I would rather postpone it in the agenda and move to something else, give them a chance to vote and not just bypass their chance to vote since they need the document. Council, feedback on that?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, go ahead, council member.
Attorney Vester made it clear to us that we're not voting on the budget book. We're voting on what we approved previously in the draft. So there were amendments or changes made. Everybody was on the same page with the changes. So now we have to visually see these changes is the reason why we would move without a vote.
At this time. But it would be voted on tonight, just at a later point, so we can continue to discuss other items. Okay. Yes. So I move that we amend tonight's agenda. Actually, Mr. Vesta, we need to withdraw the motion to adopt in order to move this item on the agenda.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Yes.
All right, so I withdraw the motion to adopt ordinance number 03-25. And move that we amend the agenda, moving this item to the last item after legislation for action. Would you like a copy in Councilmember Hines? Councilmember Hines? Okay. Okay. Well, I'll rescind my motion. There's a motion on the floor to adopt the document we're voting on. The dollar amounts have not changed. It was on the agenda for this meeting. It was on the agenda for the prior meeting, and it was on the agenda prior to that. It has had a change since its original introduction. And so, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Hines,
No.
Councilmember Brownson,
No.
Councilmember Little,
Yes.
Councilmember Kennedy,
This is for passing the budget, correct?
Yes. The budget ordinance, yes.
Would it hurt to wait another meeting?
Well, at this point, we're in the vote, so we didn't have a chance to open it back up for discussion, so I need your
Okay, so
vote,
no.
yea or nay.
No.
Councilmember McDonald,
Yes.
Council President Noble,
Yes.
Mayor Lily,
Yes.
4 yeses, 3 nos, the motion passes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next, we'll move to Resolution 27-25. This is a resolution of the mayor and council of the town of Forest Heights, Maryland, approving the appointment of a Veterans Commissioner. I move that we adopt Resolution 27-25. Is there a second? It has been moved and seconded that we adopt Resolution 27-25. Discussion. Council President Noble.
Yes, my question is how many members are on the veterans This committee or commission?
Commission. We had originally 3 appointed, and as we looked into it, it appears that some of the terms may have expired since the last time they were sworn in. So reconfirming with the other 2 members, one of them is not going to be participating. So there'll be some more resolutions coming.
Thank you.
Is there any other discussion on resolution 27-25? Councilmember Brownson.
This resolution still has Jamila McDonald as the council president.
Thank you, Councilmember Brownson. Would you like to offer an amendment? Well, at least the one we have on board docs, or at least the one I see still has it. Looks like Madam Clerk, you're checking on that. Okay, just a moment.
Yes, because it was changed, so I'm checking.
Sorry.
Yes, thank you.
So, most of the commissioners will be serving is this new? Will they be serving 2 years or this is suspended? Procedure. And have we had commissioners serve 2 years before? Approved them by resolution?
If I could get legal advice on the appointment to committees, we need resolution or specific bodies, we need resolution, correct, Mr. Best?
So I believe it's Article 20. I was asked, Article 20 calls for appointment to various boards and commissions by resolution, but I was asked a week or so ago by Madam Clerk for the enabling legislation for the commission. I couldn't find it. I didn't have a copy of it in my records. I think this commission was formulated while you were the president and or Washington.
Mayor Washington,
was the
correct,
mayor.
correct.
But I couldn't find the signed version or the final version of that. Normally, when an office or a committee is created, it'll be enumerated by law in Article 20. So it's something I'd want to look at to make sure it's legally sufficient, but I was wondering, Madam Clerk, did you find that signed resolution by chance?
No.
Thank you. I'm going to come back to you. Council President, I'll come back to you, Councilmember Robinson.
And during that time, the commissioners were sworn in. I remember that when they were selected. So I don't know if that's a process, part of the process. Right, right. They were all here and they were sworn in at the same time.
So my question is, are they still relevant? And if so, how many do you have and how many is required? Are they all considered veterans commissioners or is that a tier position?
To my knowledge, veterans commissioners serve on the same level. However, the number that we have to have, I don't know if there's a required number. I know initially we appointed 3.
Mr. Mayor, what I'd like to recommend is that you table the appointment or the adoption of that resolution. Allow me to craft either an ordinance or resolution so that you can memorialize the existence. We can't find the enabling resolution or ordinance. So that being the case, we need to perfect this. So just get a little time, buy a little time to prepare an ordinance or resolution to dignify this position. And you can debate how many members you want to have, that sort of thing. Or if you want to just nix this all together, that's fine as well. Want to nix the Veterans Commission, which I'd be surprised if you wouldn't.
What's a good amount of time to perfect it?
Next meeting.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor to adopt, which I withdraw. And I move that we postpone this resolution until July 18th, 2020, June 18th, 2025. Is there a second? It's been moved in, oh, yeah, could you go on record?
I second. Thank you.
It's been moved and seconded that we postpone resolution 27-25 until the June 18th meeting to allow for perfecting of the resolution and its enabling legislation. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Are there any opposed? Okay. Motion passes, so we'll postpone this until the next meeting. Mr. Best, do you think there'll be any other legislation required? Meaning, do you think it'll be a signature on the legislation that was passed previously, or do you think that we'll need to have legislation to enable?
I'm thinking we're gonna I'm gonna craft a resolution or an ordinance to recreate or ratify what we thought had been approved in the past under Mayor Washington's term. Or I might reach out to Mayor Washington, or the chief probably has contact with Mayor Washington, former Mayor Washington, and might be able to see if he has a copy of that, since that was kind of his baby, so to speak.
I may have a copy.
Okay, great. That might negate everything. We just need to get some evidence that it was actually approved. I'm pretty certain it was. I just don't know the details that were embedded in that piece of legislation.
Yeah, I remember the process. We were sitting there and the house was full that night. So let's do this. We will make contact with Mayor Washington, and also look in our files. If we don't see it, I'll reach out to you with direction to begin the process. All right, so now we have legislation for discussion. We have two items, the first of which is resolution 29-25. This is a resolution appointing Mr. Clay Jackson as plan administrator for the Mission Square 457 Retirement Savings Plan to ensure compliance and complete final administrative tasks to dissolve the 457 plan. This item is up for discussion. And so could we have an overview of this, Mr. Jackson?
I would defer to Mr. O'Connor.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. The basic overview of this is that, the plan has been passed from multiple administrators. There's been some struggles with the maintenance of the plan and proper procedures that were not followed. However, myself, the chief, and Mr. Frankenfield and Mr. Jackson, when he came in, we worked diligently to go ahead and get this properly accounted for. At this point, this is enabling Mr. Jackson to be the plan administrator formally, which is required by the Mission Square. You have to formally name somebody as the plan administrator, and it is normally the town administrator. Mr. Linwood Robinson was the previous administrator. To that, of course, it's been interim from time to time past that. And now it puts Mr. Jackson in a place where he can go ahead and administer the plan, and if necessary, absolve the plan based on possible decisions from the council. Obviously, the council's already taken the preemptive steps previously to go ahead and stop the contributions and make it an employee-only plan sometime last year by resolution. So that's what this is. It's enabling legislation that's one required as a part of the plan, but also allows Mr. Jackson to take the necessary steps, if necessary, to fix, absolve, or transfer the plan upon research and develop. That would then again be presented back to council.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on resolution 29-25? Okay. Hearing none, we'll move to resolution 30-25. This is a resolution authorizing the mayor, council president, and other council members to execute the participation agreement for the Maryland State Retirement Pension Systems, MSRPS, and generally relating to employee pensions and benefits. And again, I will direct this to staff for an overview since we're not voting on this tonight, purely for discussion.
So, Mr. Mayor and members of the council, if I can just draw your recollection to we previously entertained the resolutions passing for Leosa and also the staff retirement plan. You were given a number on the basis of the actuaries based on the current salaries that the staff presented the state pension at the time. We're in part or step 6 of 7 steps where the state has formulated an agreement to the town and the state with a provided schedule of payments to begin in fiscal year 27 or December of 2026. Based on those numbers and the actuary that the state provided, we lost 3 staff members. So it is anticipated that the numbers provided by the state will be reduced. And this is where we are now to review the agreement and to move it so we can move to step 7 to where we receive the actual or the final actuary regarding our payments in fiscal year 27 with the new numbers.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. For the benefit of mayor and council, at this step, is there any additional expense incurred by the town?
No.
Could you also provide any insight on the, I believe originally the council was informed that the initial payments on the pension system would come from potential rollover from the existing funds in the 457 plan.
That is my understanding and has been confirmed with the treasurer and Mr. O'Connor that there's potential of funds being available from the 457 that we dissolve to support our state efforts.
Thank you. Questions from council on resolution 30-25. Councilmember McDonald.
So from our previous discussion on this, we paused the contributions to the pension plan in order to start contributing to the state, which it's but by not contributing to the pension plan, it generated a fund balance, correct? Mr. Frankenfield?
Yeah, and we had discussion of this in a prior meeting.
Mhm.
We didn't appropriate it. We didn't set it aside. We didn't say, hey, we're not contributing in fiscal year 24 and 25. But there's no question the town has approximately more than $200,000 from not contributing in 24 and 25 because we paused the town's contribution to the plan.
Okay, so then fiscal year, when do we start contributing?
So fiscal year 26, there's no payments. Fiscal year 27 is the town's first payment. So the budget we just passed did not have a provision for retirement in it. And we could argue that there's another 100,000 that we saved in fiscal year 26 by not contributing to the pension plan or the 457 retirement.
And employees need to have 10 years vested in the plan, which is required in order to benefit from the plan.
That's correct.
Okay.
Would that be from the town's contributions? Their own contributions they will be able to take or have benefit of, but they need 10 years to vest in order to vest for the town's contributions.
Yeah, it's not only 10 years, but there's an age requirement based on which plan they're in. So it's not just a matter of an employee works here 10 years and they can benefit in order to actually retire. It would be 10 years plus the age thereof based on whether it's LEOPS or the employee pension system. And then if you're talking about if they separate employment prior to vesting, there's a period of time in between there, and they would contact the state retirement system and go through their process to see if their funds are available or if they're able to retrieve their funds from there. But there is a process in place for them to work that through the state system.
Thank you.
A question on the vesting. Is this 10-year period designed for service in a municipality or a state agency, or is it simply Forest Heights? So if I have 5 years of service in a state agency or another municipality and I come to Forest Heights and work for 5 additional years, have I met my 10-year vesting requirement? Or
Yes, so it's about the time that's actually served in the state system. So if for your example is perfect, if you had 5 years in the state system and in municipality A, and then went to municipality B, your time from municipality A would in fact carry over to B, and then your time would start from there as a total time. So there's credit. There's actually time, actual time, then there's eligible time. So they would have to calculate the eligible time towards that vestment period. So the answer, plainly simple, is yes, but there's a little bit more math that they do in the background for the vesting.
thank you. Are there any other questions regarding resolution 30-25? All right, hearing none. We will move to the next items on our agenda, which are department reports. And we will begin with Town Administrator, Mr. Clay Jackson.
Mr. Mayor, Madam Council President, esteemed members of the council, please accept my report for the record. It's very short. I don't have much, which was not in my physical report that you see before you. I would like to add that I visited Third Baptist Church on Sunday. They extended us an invitation. I spoke on generally on behalf of the town to extend a welcome to the town, to the congregation, and it was very well received. During this reporting period, there are several ongoing and internal challenges that I discovered that have become more apparent. This includes missing or outdated critical forms and procedures, some unclear budget protocols, staffing shortages, and all of which, in my estimation, hinder operational efficiency. While these issues were or are not new, they do highlight the need for some structural and some procedural improvements, which is well underway. Some efforts are already underway to address them through some updated administrative practices, some development of standardized procedures, and some staffing strategies. Despite current shortcomings, the outlook is optimistic, with a strong focus on fiscal responsibility, strategic alignment, transparent communication with the town council, and continued community engagement. What you see provided for you, yellow envelope, some refreshed town forms or some created town forms that I found that we did not have or that I could not locate. So please peruse those at your leisure. And there are more to come. In addition, the forms that I've created or will create will be on SharePoint at some point, and it will be accessible to all in the town after I procure some administrative privileges and restrictions to the documents. One of the items that I look to pursue in my next 30 days is to fill the 2 open staff positions in the Department of Public Works. There's no secret that we're down to 2, and that's a tremendous strain on those 2 individuals. One called out today, and that left over with 1 person to handle the entire town. So the quicker I can fill these positions, which I gave you a description of the director's position with some merit-based criteria. I provided that drafting beforehand to Councilmember McDonald, who provided her insight and her expertise in it, and also the mayor. And everything else is provided in my report, and that's all I have to say.
Are there any questions for the town administrator's report for this month? Yes, Councilmember Hines.
We have not advertised yet. We will be advertising through ADP. That's my understanding of how we posted the last few positions, and they will then publicly distribute it to various hiring resources, for instance, LinkedIn or Indeed, and we would also publish the same on our website. So when we do so, I'll make sure to notify the council that the posting is live.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilmember McDonald.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Jackson. The question I have is, are we hiring a DPW director or supervisor? I thought the suggestion was the latter. The director, I'm sorry.
We are hiring a DPW director, and the recommendation is for the current lead position to make that position a general crewman position. So we'll have 3 crewmen and 1 director.
Thank you.
Any further question?
Yes.
Councilmember Kennedy.
Is this gonna be a working director's position, or is this gonna be a paper pushing director position?
I anticipate this director to physically work in the town.
All right, thank you.
Councilmember Brownson.
I just have one question about your report, and something to stick out. Number 2, in my next 30 days, I will. The first bullet. What does that say?
I didn't understand the latter part of your question.
I said, I'm looking at your report in the number 2, the first bullet.
Speaking of Asana, migrate to Asana.
It says, is that what it is? Some says set privileges and controls.
I see. Set privileges and controls to mission critical documents, which means, for instance, the exit interview sample that we need to speak with each staff member who leaves the town, so we can understand why they leave the town and what new measures or improvements we need to make. And so, simply put, if I upload the document as it is now to SharePoint, there is not a way, or there is a way. I'm trying to secure control of that now through Peak, but as it currently is, if I upload it to SharePoint, you'll be able to write over the template document instead of it forcing you to download and create a new one. Yes.
Okay. And then you got SETT for
I
six.
know, I've realized that after today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Council President,
I just had a quick question, as it relates to Public Works. Have we, well, I guess not, since we're looking for new employees. But, is there some consideration, or can we give some consideration for some creativity here in, what are the tasks of Public Works? For example, one time we had a contractor who did the town spaces, cutting the grass and keeping up with those things. So I guess for me, I'm trying to save money and just figure out a way that we could use the same dollars and maybe contract it out, or then you're getting work. I mean, you're getting work done with the employees we have, but right now we only have two, right? So just think of, now's the time to think of other ways to do things.
Thank you for that, Council President Noble, and that is a part of the discussion. I have not ruled anything out. In addition, when we do fill these two spots, I have not ruled out, or I do plan to restructure the way that our Public Works is currently operating. Right now, one is assigned to the east side, the other is assigned to the west. Perhaps we can reconfigure that, maybe have one assigned specifically to Town Hall and its properties. So we can do a lot. Let's fill these two spots so we can continue that discussion.
All right, and just, can I continue? Another
Yes.
thought. We have all these vehicles and we have Public Works person driving here, Public Works person driving here, Public Works driving from one house to another house to pick something up from the back of the truck. It's gas we're using. And if you're in a vehicle, you can't see everything. So I think if it was more of a team effort, I think more could get done and more could be observed that needs to be done. Just a suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Brunson.
Okay, speaking of that, in your report, you say hire a DPW supervisor and a DPW lead. But then you say you're gonna hire a director. So are you gonna hire a supervisor, a lead, and a director?
No, Councilmember Brownson, a director and a general recruiter. That's the latest recommendation. Notwithstanding my report that was distributed to the town clerk last week.
Okay, so you're gonna hire a director and a crewman. is what you-
Yes, that's correct.
So that's following the same pattern that we had in place already.
So, well, as of today, yes, that's what we have currently. Well, that's what we had currently on the ground before our director resigned. We had a director and two crewmen. Previously, you had two crewmen, a lead, and I believe you referred to that lead as a supervisor. And as well as a director. So it is my recommendation today to have one person in charge, a director and three crewmen.
So they won't have a supervisor.
The director is the supervisor.
Okay. So why can't he be called supervisor?
They can be called supervisor if you like.
No, I was just saying, because to me, the definition of director is someone that directs and don't necessarily work.
Sure.
No, I don't mean
So I use-
don't necessarily work. And I think that was getting towards Councilman Kennedy's question, are we gonna have a working director? I think that's what it was.
So I use the terms interchangeably.
But another question is, director kind of carries a higher salary and a higher notoriety and a higher this versus a supervisor.
Understood. Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Hines.
Just want to ask about we're going into the summer months. Do we have that program where we get the youth involved. We're getting trained. Are we doing that this year?
So I do not have the specifics of that program. I did briefly hear about it, and I do welcome them because we need the help.
So I know the Prince George's County Youth Enrichment Program. I'm not familiar with the application dates or process. We may have needed to do it by now, but there are at least 2 students from Oxon High School who were looking for an opportunity to work with the town over the summer. And you may have the names, or if not, I'll forward them to you again. So we can engage them. It may not be exactly through the program the county is doing, but I think we may have some ways to employ or to engage them to help during the summer, because they were very interested in specifically coming to Forest Heights after another Oxon Hill student worked with us in the summer camp last year.
Certainly, and I would just close with it. If it's the prerogative of this body to change the title from director to supervisor, that works for me.
Thank you. Council President.
I just have a question on the summer program, because I know through the county pays for the student. So this is another expense for the town if we are going to do it. So, this budget that I just said yes to, I wanted to stay in line. Thank you.
Well, with those students, it's if the logistical things have to be figured out. But if we find out we can do the program with the county, yes, I hope so. We did it last year and the year before. We did it last year. They were youth students. So anyway, we'll find out. We'll get an answer. Affirmative. Thank you. All right. Let's move to the next report, which is the Youth and Community Programming Report. Mr. Holland, I see is not here today. He's online.
Yes, good afternoon, Mayor and Council. How are you guys?
Okay. Good afternoon.
I'm sorry, please bear with me. I'm getting over the flu. I'm going to just get into my report really quickly. As you said, Mayor Lilly, we have the partnership with Forest Heights Elementary, June 14th, where we're bringing the Advanced Behavioral Health, which is a mental health company that strives to connect parents with mental health services more so than children. It's a behavioral health program that visits homes and meets with parents semi-regularly to discuss problems in schools or problems at home and try to connect them with county resources that are available for free. We also have the Boris L. Henson Foundation, who will be physically giving chair yoga sessions as well as breath coaching sessions in their breakout sessions. We have the Oxon Hill Library that's going to be a part, giving parents resources and information about upcoming programs for the summer. And to piggyback off that, I know we were just speaking about the summer program. The deadline was March 31st for applications for the SYEP program. Sorry. So that is actually closed, but I can look into if there's any other funding from the county that could potentially help with the cost that we may incur with providing payment to our youth. I don't have too much information on that today, but I can absolutely look into that and have something by the next meeting on that. The community resource fair will be from 10 to 12 p.m. We will be serving breakfast at 9:30 a.m. at the cafeteria in Forest Heights Elementary. We encourage all elected officials, residents, employees to come out. There will be information on waived tuition. There'll also be opportunities for free therapy sessions with the Boris L. Henson Foundation. So please spread the word. This is open for anyone in the District 8 area, but specifically for the Forest Heights constituents. We also announced at the beginning of this May the partnership that the District 8 office closed with the Boris L. Henson Foundation. Starting in August 2025, Boris L. Henson Foundation will be making regular physical trips to local high school and middle schools to provide extra mental health resources to the counselors that are already in the building there. We think that this way, we've been seeing a lot of overwhelmness with mental health professionals and Councilmember Burrows thought that this would be a way to alleviate some of that stress on them while making sure we meet the gap for our youth that are experiencing mental health crises. So we're excited about that moving forward. I want to thank Mayor Lilly, Councilwoman Brownson, and Councilwoman Little, I'm sorry, for being a part of this. I see I made a typo in my report. I'm sorry about that, but it was Councilwoman Little, Councilwoman Brownson, and Mayor Lilly who supported this program. So thank you for that. Moving on, we had our Healthy Heights ride. Councilwoman McDonald kicked off her youth ride. Myself, as well as the youth, learned a lot of history about the activities that happened in 1814. We got to see a bunch of wildlife, and the brand new trail at Bell Acres Park was beautiful, breathtaking. And we're excited to have our next ride June 28th. There's a barcode where parents can sign their kids up. We'll be meeting up at 10 a.m. on June 28th. We also, Leslie, have, as you said again, Mayor, the save the date for Forest Heights Day, which is August 2nd. We're looking forward to bringing new vibes and fun, I'm sorry, culture fusing programming to Forest Heights Day this year. And I'm open to any questions.
Thank you, Keith, for the overview of all the events and upcoming programming happening in Forest Heights. As you heard earlier, budget was passed, so we've got a budget for $15,000 on Forest Heights Day officially. And I believe the flyers and other information about the day is forthcoming, correct?
Yes, we'll have the flyer ready to go by July 1.
Thank you. Council President Noble.
Yes, I know. I think earlier, the mayor said that on August 2nd for Forest Heights Day, that we're going to do the backpack giveaway.
Yes, ma'am.
And I've talked to Forest Heights Elementary School, their steering committee. Backpacks are nice, but they said the students need uniforms. So I don't know how we can because everybody gives away backpacks. So I don't know if it's a way that we can figure out how we can help them on the uniform side as opposed to the backpack.
I agree.
We could talk more about that.
Yes, ma'am. I spoke with Ms. Joy Wright. I believe she facilitates the steer meetings for Forest Heights Elementary, Ms. Wright.
Yes.
She brought that to my attention as well. We had submitted some information to some of the county partners on providing donations for backpacks. What I can do tomorrow morning is try to reach out to those partners, or at least some of them, and see if maybe we can receive a monetary donation from them versus the backpack distribution, and use that money towards buying uniforms. The biggest problem I see with that is trying to make sure that we have the correct sizes before the school year starts. And with school about to release in about 2 weeks, I just would like to figure out a way to make sure that we can get accurate information on students that need those, or the sizes that will be needed. So we didn't just buy a bulk of, say, extra large, and we don't need but 3 or 4 of those. So if I can reach out to you offline, we can try to come up with a plan to see how we can make this more efficient and not waste material.
Yes, let's talk about it. Thank you.
No problem.
Councilmember Brownson.
With the Forest Heights Day, do you have a Forest Heights committee? I thought one time they were gonna form a committee to help work with and figure out, one time they were gonna have a Forest Heights committee. Is that something that you all are still doing?
Yes, ma'am. We were putting together a committee, but we really wanted to confirm the budget first, so that way when we formed the committee, we had all the information necessary.
Oh, okay. And that would be residents and whoever.
Yes, ma'am.
And council or somebody. Okay, thank you.
No problem.
On that note, I think as we get closer to the day, we'll be looking for as many people who would like to volunteer with day of logistics, whether you're young or in between or seasoned. So if you could reach out to Keith, if you have interest in helping for Forest Heights Day in some way, much appreciated. We're trying to get as much input from as much help from the community as possible. Obviously, the folks who are together with Keith's guidance are going to formulate the structure of the date, time, and a lot of the outlay, but it's we'll need a lot of hands helping us, and we want to make sure that you're a part of it. So reach out to Keith. Any questions remaining on youth and community engagement? Okay. Council President Noble.
I'm sorry. We talked about this before, August 2nd, about, do we have a rain date just in case a thunderstorm comes our way?
We have not discussed rain dates yet, but I can make that a priority for us to discuss now that we have the budget for our first meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council President Noble. All right, with that, we will move to the treasurer's report. And I'm seeing a finger. Madam Clerk.
I believe we skipped over the program manager. He and the town administrator are on the same.
You know, it's listed underneath when I click on the agenda item on the, what's showing up on the agenda though, it's not there. It's a sub item. Looks like, okay. All right. Are you still there, Mr. O'Connor?
I am, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir. Is there highlights from your report?
Just real brief. Of course, the 15th annexation, which the mayor and council discussed tonight, leads us to the other annexations possibilities that are listed in my report. Fortunately, Mr. Jackson has a great relationship from past dealings with the owner of Foreman Mills, and he has expressed sincere he wants to join the jurisdiction in a very sincere manner, and so we're exploring that relationship. He does appreciate everything that the town does, as it was conveyed to me from what Mr. Jackson said. Again, the pre-annexation agreement for Harborside Hotel has been passed on. Should be sent out to council soon so they can start reviewing that. And then today I met with Miss Denny at the community garden, and we were able to get all the beds. We moved the beds around, put them into place, went over the strategy for the grant, and also there's 3 beds that were put over into the Modoc Lane Passive Use Park, which can be used for composting. They haven't been established yet, and hadn't had a chance to fully brief the garden members on it yet. So it's not a permanent fixture yet, but it's just one of those things that's there for you to take a look at, and further the composting, because that's been a huge topic of conversation. So I want to make sure that gets done. And the other big thing, which I think is really, really the most important thing here on this whole report, is our street lights. So we were able to, there's going to be a resolution that's going to come forward relating to accepting the street light survey. This is the work of Mr. Belnavis, Chief Reese, myself with Pepco to go through to every single street light in the jurisdiction and make sure that we're getting a proper inventory. And that inventory in itself is going to result in a credit of $47,000 to the jurisdiction, because we've been paying for street lights that don't belong to us. So now they're back with Prince George's County where they belong, and they'll bear the burden of those street lights, as well as all the broken street lights. We're going to be driving, I'll be out with Pepco, and we will be driving every street in the town looking for any lights that are out. Then they're going to, with haste, fix them. Secondly, to Councilmember Kennedy, who for the last 3 years has been asking about his LED street lights. I have been working with Pepco, and one of the things they need is a study. So the answer, council member, is there was never a proper study done on the LED lighting that would enable the grants and or Pepco to take that step. But through those relationships, we've been able to go ahead and basically gain the direct point of contact for the director of streetlights in that transition. And they are going to come out and they are giving us the recommendation on those people that'll do it. So we will be able to hopefully transition to those LED streetlights that you've been hoping for, which I'm sure has been more than 3 years. But I think that's one of the biggest things that I wanted to highlight on that project. And other than that, Mr. Mayor, I'll yield any further time back to you.
Thank you. I saw one other item on your update related to DHCD, and $58,000 need to be spent by June.
Yes, so that grant, that's the Arapahoe Drive grant, and that is the remaining balance of that grant. It does have to be spent on infrastructure projects, administrative costs, or any other types of improvements. If we don't spend that money by June 30th, we lose that money. Our grant term is over with that. We've done a great job of fixing everything else and getting what we need to do spent down, but that's the remaining funds. So um, I was working with Mr. Belnavis, and I'll continue to work with Mr. Jackson on how that can be applied, as well as Mr. Frankenfield. And if there's anything that needs to come back to council, we're sure that that's brought back right away.
What's an example of what we could use it for?
Potholes, curb repair, tree trimming, tree replacement, any type of small stormwater management projects, guardrails.
What about speed
and
humps?
You could use it for speed humps based on the geographic location in the town. If you Arapahoe Drive, you could use it. Seneca, Black
What about
Hawk.
what about so you heard that's a popular thing. There's a location on Delaware where the residents had already petitioned the town to do speed humps in the past. Pit Lane, I think there's a pending. It's not there yet. It's short. Okay, got it. Okay, so speed humps, potholes, curb repairs, i.e., e.g. Okay, thank you.
And I did the legwork for Delaware and found the two best locations on there. So if that's the will of the council, we can make that happen. I'll get with Mr. Jackson and do any necessary legwork that needs to happen to expedite if necessary.
All right, are there any further questions? I see Councilmember Kennedy, and then I'll go to Councilmember McDonald.
Thank you. Yeah, I've only been talking about LED lights for literally over a decade, but thank you for getting the ball rolling in the right direction. I think if we're gonna go bang for the buck, curb in certain places being replaced would go a lot further with water mitigation than a speed hump would at this point in time. Um, I'm just saying in priority, or if we can actually use some of the funding to change one or two of these lights to LED. I think we originally did all the ones in the parking lot and the one on Arapahoe because it was on the same bill. So that way we can do a cost analysis of what we're paying for those LED ones versus the old mercury vapor or high pressure sodium. I don't remember which one it was anymore. Thank you.
Councilmember McDonald.
Mr. O'Connor, regarding the lights, so when you all are looking at these, let me say, are you all looking at areas where the lights need to go? Or looking at where lights are right now and replacing those with LED lights? Because I know there was one discussion that there needed to be, enough incidents where it would justify putting lighting in a particular area. Because I know coming off of Livingston Road onto Comanche, there's no light right there at all. And you make a left or you make a right, and somebody's coming across, you don't see them at all. So is that taken into consideration? I had brought it up before, but there was, talk about it not having enough incidents right there that would, justify a light being put there. Thank you.
Yeah, so for the street lights, the way this works is, and it's a great question because it leads to what Councilmember Kennedy was just talking about too. They look at the difference in the cost related to the LEDs and the vapor mercury lights, but also what they look at is the throw of the light, and that's how when you turn on a light, it only goes a certain amount of distance, and they call that the throw of the light. So they'll say the LED throws light this much. Then they look at the airports. They look at everything in the area. And Mr. Jackson and I, saying his name a lot because we communicate a lot about some of these projects, and he's going to help get me a study that was previously done for something else that's going to tie into this. But they look at how those lights affect the area, the residents, and the streets, and how the light throws. So I will make sure that I let PEPCO know, or whoever's going to do our study, that is an area of emphasis, And we need to get a light over there that throws the light appropriately to highlight that intersection. And as long as it's on the town side, we'll be good. We have to be concerned about the county right of ways, and we may not be able to do anything in the Prince George's County right of ways, but we can do what we need to do in the town right of ways.
Thank you.
Councilmember Brownson.
Yes, Mr. O'Connor, in your report, you talked about the DOE has taken a list of trees I have compiled. So that in the meeting on Saturday, there were a lot of questions about trees in the town, and do we have a list of the trees? And if we have a list of the trees, can we delete trees or put more trees? And just a whole list of questions about the trees in the town that were planted by DOE. So, and I see that they're coming to do some maintenance to the trees. But do we have a list of the trees that were planted by DOE? And is it available in some format where you can see what we have as far as what we're planted, what kind of tree they are? Because that's my question.
Sure. So there is a list that exists, and it is not just yet finalized, and it'll be converted into an app that people can use and the town can use for maintenance of the trees in the future and log into. And we'll get it in a regular version for residents that aren't comfortable using an app or, let's say, a website to look at it. This maintenance that you're speaking of is a part of that finalization of the list, because trees that died, they're going to replace and it'll be a new tree. So they don't want to go back and do double work. So it's just a part of the process. But yes, there will be a list. It'll be what types of trees, where those trees are, and for us internally on how to take care of those trees in the future if necessary. And if the residents want to see how to take care of them as well.
Also, so that would be, the list will be compiled after DOD finish their maintenance, that they're coming somewhere in the near future.
Yes, it's the last step in the finalization of the entire program.
Thank you.
In the near future, yes.
Councilmember McDonald.
Ms. O'Connor, so I knew we went back and forth with those residents who said that they had put in or responded to not having a tree planted. And there is one resident that I have, every time I see her, she's just constantly asking me about that tree that is planted on Shoshone and like sort of corner to her house. She wants it removed. She's keep telling me that she was adamant about making sure she responded to whether, you know, she wanted a tree or not. She said she did not want the tree there. I thought at one point we were talking about entertaining those residents who did make such a request and relocating those trees to other areas within the town. Is that doable?
No, I'm trying to, I don't know which home on Shoshone, but there was one that I went to and I had 3 trees transplanted earlier in the process.
That was probably at the corner of Ottawa and Comanche. I think I know what
that
house you're
was
talking
right.
about.
Yeah, that was Ottawa and Comanche, not Shoshone. I know there was a home on Shoshone that I did do that for. I don't know if it's one and the same. But at this point, if there is a tree there, it has taken life and it is a part of the earth at that location. They would not be able to pull it up and remove it without killing the tree. It's that far along. So I don't know exactly which residence that is, but I know there was one or two on Shoshone that I had trees transplanted or stopped.
Council President Noble.
And I have a question, this question about the trees. Do we consider the trees an asset to the town? Mr. O'Connor.
You know.
Oh, Mr. Best, this, is this a legal question? Okay. Because I guess go ahead.
So we inventoried the trees and I guess it's based on the value of the tree. I wouldn't say it's considered one of your fixed assets, but it would be something that you would want to track related to the trees, and that's why we'll have the app and all the information, just if the trees die and for future maintenance. I think that it's important that that particular asset, once, you know, it was bought with grant funds inserted by the county, and at some point it will be, they're in the town right away and be turned over to the town, just like a street sign or anything else. So inventory is important, maintenance is important. So it's more of a policy question, and I think that's something to talk through further on how we want to categorize that.
Okay.
Mr.
And
Best.
oh, go ahead.
Let me add. Legally, a street tree that's planted in the grassy portion of the public right of way, whether it be municipal, county, state right of way. All those trees, regardless of what level of government put those trees in or owns the street of which the tree grows in, as long as they're in the public right of way, they're protected. They're considered important by the state public policy. There is a street tree law that says if you prune or destroy or remove a street tree, you commit a misdemeanor. So it's a crime to prune or destroy a street tree that's located in the public right of way under state law. It's not municipal law, it's not county law, it's state law. So it's one thing to plant a baby tree and then move it. You know, you're not harming it, it's gonna thrive elsewhere, fine. But once it becomes mature and it's stuck in the ground and it's kind of dependent where it's at, and you maliciously destroy it or innocently destroy it, you commit a misdemeanor under state law. And it doesn't matter what your ordinances say, it's state law. And in order to get a permit, you normally have to get your permit from DNR to prune or remove a tree.
Council President Noble.
And on that note, I know we talk about the trees that we recently received through a grant, but we have a lot of trees that were planted some time ago that were given to the town from the county. So all of I guess it's not just what's done recently, it's everything in that easement or that we have to account for as the asset, or we need to make sure we manage properly. Thank you.
And just so Council President Noble knows, that inventory that the county did includes all of those trees or anything that was in the right of way. So that's one of the nice things about it. They went in and did that for us. So we'll have that list as well and be able to keep good care of those as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. We'll move on. Thank you, Mr. O'Connor. We'll move on to the police department's report. Oh, did we do the treasurer's report? Did we do the treasurer's report? Okay, I think what happened was we were going into, and then we found out the project manager's report was subjugated in the agenda. Okay, the treasurer's report. Are there any questions for the treasurer's report? Okay. Next, we'll have the police department report. Are there any questions for the police department report? Council President Noble.
This isn't a question. This is just well, I guess it is a question. It's a follow-up from Ms. McCutcheon. When we were out at the garden the other day, we saw that moped. So I guess what do we need to do to identify? Because the little girl, her neck just snapped back. It made me nervous.
So what we can do is just we have to really figure out, you know, where they're going, what home it is, so we can properly address them.
Right. We were on at the garden, so yes, thank you.
All right, if there are no further questions on the police department's report, we have a public works report. Any questions? What was that, council member? Okay.
Forgive me. Chief Reese, can you give me a status on the, property that I think is still maybe in probate on Comanche?
So this is reference to the boarded up property.
Yes.
So they did reach out. They do want to remove the boards. The town did because of the incident. We boarded the property. We're making sure that they pay us to reimburse us for us doing that, before they take the boards down. And they're working with, Mr. Williams on that. So I can say that probably within the next 2 weeks, the boards will come down, after we build them, to make sure that they have a full understanding that they can't let the property, be as it was, to make sure they have somebody, coming to regularly check on it. So, but
Is in progress? Where
so
along
there's
is it?
they have a, it's no longer, it's the bank has contacted us, obviously with these type of properties. The bank owns it, but the bank assigns, what is called, like an agent of the property that kind of it's a company that does it. The company is based out of Florida. And so now we have constant communication with them, through, I guess, through Mr. Williams, who's doing code enforcement. So I can say that, probably within the next 2 weeks, you'll probably see a difference of that property. Now, they do come regularly now. We see them cutting the grass, regularly. So now they're pretty much on it.
And what about the one on Ottawa?
The one on Ottawa, the most famous, for some reason, Mr. Williams just went to court for that, about 2 weeks ago. The owner does not live there, but they did show up to court. And the court has granted them, to fix the property. And that's what they're doing now. So there is some vehicles out there. We thought that was just gonna be a shoe-in, that because they collected the properties for so long that the homeowner was not gonna come. What we did find out is that, when the homeowner came, he does not live here. He does live in New York. He is elderly, and there is a language barrier. And so, we did have a translator to come in court, so we expressed our concerns for the property. And so now, the court did grant him time to fix it. And I can follow up to give you that exact date of when he has time to fix the property before we can reissue the citation.
And the last thing is, we used to have, and I guess because we don't have a code enforcement officer, a list of properties within the town that were either, abandoned or just idle or, things of that nature. So is there a way where we can do an inventory of the properties in the town that's unoccupied and things of that nature, so we can get a list?
So the code enforcement, we do have a list already, so it is part of the ordinance that if you do have a vacant property, you have to get on the vacant property registry list. We do have that list to where is that, the code enforcement, where they have to submit a plan of what they're doing with the property. So that list is maintained.
Is it available in the report or could be made available in the report?
We can.
Okay.
Well, what I do say is, I do caution some putting a vacant list out there because you may invite, people to go in there. Because if they know it's vacant, now we're pretty much telling them. And then when you have a list like that, most of the time that you include the resident, the owner, and the owner may not even be in state. And so, you invite some things like that, but we can probably share that list internally,
Okay,
to make sure that we know which property is what.
that sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Last, we have the Public Works report. Any questions for the Public Works report? Going once, twice, sold. All right. That concludes our department reports for this evening. Next, we have on our agenda closed session. And this closed session is proposed to happen under the general provisions of Article subsection 3-305. Which is the statutory authority to close this meeting. The reasons listed under subsection 3-305 are Number 7, to consult with counsel to obtain legal advice. And number 8, to consult with staff, consultants, or other individuals about pending or potential litigation. The topics that we expect to discuss under number 7 would be legal consultation, and we're closing the meeting to discuss this topic to obtain legal advice about a specific legal matter. And then for number 8, it's to discuss potential pending litigation, and the reason to close is to discuss the specific case of litigation. Will we go into closed session at this time? We need a second. Going into closed session. Yes.
Oh, I second.
It has been moved and seconded that we go into closed session to discuss reasons 7 and 8 as aforementioned. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Hines. Councilmember Little,
Yes.
Councilmember Brownson, Councilmember Kennedy, Councilmember McDonald,
Yes.
Council President Noble,
Yes.
Mayor Lily,
Yes.
Councilman Kennedy.
Yes.
The vote is unanimous. The motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. All right, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, the council will now go into closed session. That is a portion of the meeting which is closed. At this time, you can wait in the lobby until we resume the open session. We can't make a time determinant when that will happen, but as soon as we come out of the meeting, we will come back and announce any actions we take, who attended the closed session, and that will be done in open session. I'm writing the time down. It's 10:18. So at this time, the meeting is now closed and we will return. Thank you.